With the NBA season coming to an end, I think it's clear a lot of teams need to make a move. So today, I have made one move for every team out east to make in the offseason. Let's get into it. Starting off with the Atlanta Hawks, I think it's clear in the playoffs that they really lacked a lot of playoff creation and offense in the half court. And I think an easy player that could really complement their team is Ty Jerome. I know that a lot of people probably are high on CJ McCollum, but he is an aging star and he can't stay with his core forever. So I would like to find someone who could be a stable piece for the future. And Ty Jerome, even though he played limited minutes with the Memphis Grizzlies last year, he was a really, really solid point guard. I mean, he's averaging almost like 20 points. He can really create off the dribble. He can play off ball, which really suits well with Jalen Johnson. And I think he's a great fit for this team. And he doesn't come at an insane price. I mean, I think you could do an easy Zachary Ricochet, who I think the Hawks have lower value on as of now, and they're looking more towards a competitive future. And they already have a questionable piece in Dyson Daniels. So I think getting rid of Zachary Ricochet and trading him for Ty Jerome is a win-win for both sides. Memphis looking to get more younger pieces, and Ty Jerome being shipped off to a more playoff ready, competitive team where he could really show off and he could help the half court offense along with Nickeil Alexander Walker, who did play poorly again in the playoffs. But I think that is not something that will be forever. I think this is his first time playing the role. That's something that could change. And adding another ball handler like Ty Jerome will just take pressure off of everybody, including Jalen Johnson, who obviously has more to develop, but Ty Jerome can definitely help alongside of him. The Boston Celtics, they went out pretty sad this season. Went to 7 games with an injured Joel Embiid after having a really, really solid regular season without Jason Tatum. It was pretty disappointing to see them lose. They were my personal pick to go to the finals this year, and clearly that was the farthest thing from the truth. I thought they're going to bust the 76ers, and then they're going to bust the Knicks, and then whoever came out after that, they would beat too. And I thought they were going to go to the finals this season. Clearly that did not come true, and I think a lot of it is oriented based off their whole three-point shooting philosophy that they have going on, where it's like, oh, we just need to get three-point shots open, open, and open, open. Because the truth is, as good of three-point shooters that they do have on the roster, like Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown's really developed a good three-point shot, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, the shot doesn't always fall, and that's just something we see in the playoffs pretty often where a lot of players that we do consider reliable shooters, their three-point shot just does not fall, and that's just something you have to live with. So I think they need to have some more other offense, more versatile offense, rather than just full-on relying on getting open three-point shots, because as effective as that does work when it is the shots are falling and these shooters are shooting like how they normally do, it's not something that always happens. That's just the recipe that we've seen them lose with very often. Like, I think it's easy to move on from Sam Hauser here and get in a better big. Daniel Gafford is my pick for the Celtics to trade for, because having a big rotation of Keita and Daniel Gafford could greatly improve their paint offense with like offensive rebounding and getbacks, better defense all around, instead of just like swapping between Luka Garza and Nikola Vucevic. Keita and Daniel Gafford would be really solid, and I think Daniel Gafford is not untouchable right now. The Mavericks are still figuring out what they want their core to be for the future, and I think there could be a world where they see some value in Daniel Gafford and they try to get something in right now. Like they could get Sam Hauser, Ron Harper Jr., and a couple second round picks for Daniel Gafford, I bet, and that would overall work pretty well on both sides, I think. And I think the Celtics would be very happy with a new big in rotation. Brooklyn Nets, another sad season for them. I think it's clear what they need to do in the offseason is be competitive, because with the new draft regulations, you want to be competitive anyway. And the Nets also don't own their pick for next season. So I would love to see them trade for Julius Randle. Julius Randle is one of the most obtainable floor raisers in the league. Julius Randle, what you can say about him is that his playoff percentages and playoff everything is just not at the level that you'd want for a contending team. And I think it's clear that the Timberwolves do no longer view him as a player who can really be in this core for a championship contender. I mean, he's played pretty awful this playoffs and last year against the Thunder, which, is a little bit different because it is the Thunder. But, there's not really a whole lot of hope for Julius Randle to be on a contending team. And I think he can raise the floor. As much as he's bad in the playoffs, he can raise the floor of a team in the regular season. We saw him do it time and time again with the Knicks, and then he loses in the postseason. When Anthony Edwards is out, you see him do it time and time again. And I think that is a really valuable archetype for him. And I think he could definitely boost up his value with the Nets and eventually be moved on for other value, like potentially a younger piece. Like the Spurs could eventually in the future be like, we still need that big forward. Let's go get Julius Randle. And I think the Nets could hold that value. And with a core of like Michael Porter Jr., Julius Randle, and Nick Claxton, I think you could really have a team that is able to be competitive and not be the worst team out east next season. And getting a player like Darius Acuff at the sixth pick, which is most likely for them, I'd say, it's another like big thing for them. And they probably have to be another team involved because I'm not sure if the Nets are ready to move on from Michael Porter Jr. yet, and I don't know who. There's no one else on the value of the Nets that the Timberwolves would want. So if there could be like they have a lot of young people like Danny Wolf and Yegor Demon, Nolan Traore, Drake Powell. These players can be moved on. I don't think they really are solidified about any of these players. Yegor Demon is probably someone they'd like to keep. He does seem to have a lot of decent upside in the league. Does have a really good archetype for the league, and I could see them, involving another team, sending off some of the young pieces to that other team that might be looking towards a rebuild, and then like the Kings could easily get involved in this trade where they send like a player like I don't know, Zach Levine. I'm not sure what the interest is for the Timberwolves, but like you could easily get another team that is on the downward trajectory and swoop up on a really solid player. Like, could the Bulls get in this and they dish out Josh Giddey, and now the Timberwolves have a point guard? Who knows? But I think the Nets should really focus on acquiring a floor raiser like Julius Randle. Probably my favorite team out east this season, the Charlotte Hornets. Really, probably everyone's favorite team out east this season, unless if your favorite team is out east. Um, the Charlotte Hornets were playing absolutely amazing basketball, like so much fun offense, like literally superstar offense, like just chucking up crazy shots, doing crazy stuff. They beat OKC by like 30 points, and like Melo hit like a fading corner off the out of bounds 3-point shot. Like this team is really developing great, but one thing they do really lack is experience and that like a lot of like that defensive physicality. Towards the end of the season, their defense like statistically was good, but they did get really bothered by the Orlando Magic's like physical offense and defense, and there's not something that they could really do anything about. So I think one thing that you could add on the smaller side is like a Chris Dunn, a really solid perimeter defender. He's a veteran. He's been in the playoffs plenty of times. He could definitely help with this team's like whole thing. Because I'm just like thinking like off the top of my head, I can't name anyone on the roster that's really that old. Like Grant Williams, Pat Connaughton was on the roster this season, but he wasn't even playing. He wasn't providing anything. So it's just like the Hornets really do need someone with a more defensive mentality and mindset, like a Chris Dunn, who could play a little bit more physical defense and getting in the passing lanes, and then it could get fast break threes. I think it'd be a really good fit for them. This trade involves the Chicago Bulls and the Orlando Magic. I think it's clear what the Bulls should do this offseason. They have a lot of cap space. They are looking towards a more youthful rebuilding direction. They've changed all their staffing, coaching, and executives and whatever. So I think it's clear that they should be picking up bad contracts and trying to develop young talent. And the easy way to do that is getting Jalen Suggs. The Orlando Magics are pretty much stuck financially. There's need to be someone odd man out. Desmond Bain was really great for them this season. Knockout 3-point shooter. Paulo Moncaro, I don't think they're ready to move on from him yet. Franz Wagner, I don't think they're ready to move on from him yet. I think Jalen Suggs' contract looks really, really big, and his availability has been very, very bad this last couple of years. So I think it's clear that he's the odd man out that should be moved away. And if you could get the Atlanta Hawks in this trade, a lot of things should be favorable for the Bulls, Magic, and the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks could acquire, say, Trey Jones or Jalen Smith, some really solid role players that they could have, are pretty much younger and could contribute to their core. And then the Bulls could get in Jalen Suggs, and the Orlando Magic's via sign and trade could require CJ McCollum, older veteran presence that could help boost this team into playoff contention, because one thing they were missing out on was a lot of their offense was pretty bad. Their defense wasn't clicking, but they did get the defensive coordinator as a head coach. That defensive coordinator of the Spurs that is now going to be the head coach of the Magic next season. So there's some hope there that like the defense is going to be clicking. You add in a player like CJ McCollum who can play make and score at a really well level, alongside Desmond Bain, another good shooter, and Paolo Banchero. Towards the end of the season, you can say what you want about how he performed all regular season. It was pretty poor, but Paolo Banchero did look like he was taking a lot of steps and being very aware of his flaws and defects. And I'm very high on Paulo Maquero's potential. I don't know if he's going to fulfill that potential, but I do have hope that he will because of how the response has been towards the second half of the season. Seems like he's very aware. He listens to a lot of social media, and he's really seeing what people are saying about him and listening, which is very important. And Franz Wagner is very good as well. So I think with that core, I think we could definitely see them being contenders out east, because out east, it doesn't really seem as cluttered as the West. Like the West is like their Spurs and OKC are probably the only two people that are going to contention for the next couple of years. But out east, like the Knicks, they're doing it this year. But besides that, like no one's really like the top dog. And the Bulls pick up Jalen Suggs, which is an amazing pickup because Jalen Suggs still one of my favorite players in the league. Super high on him. His defense is literally game changing constantly, and they could really build up his value and hold on to that contract and possibly get in some like draft capital or something in to take that. And I think that's a clear choice that they could take on and definitely up their value, move him for better stuff, get him on a different contract, rework it. And that's definitely something that I think the Bulls would be interested in. And the new executive president for the Bulls definitely has like a more defensive mindset, which he might be intrigued by Jalen Suggs as well. Time to talk about my least favorite team in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team with no fight in them at all, the team that is analytically winning the finals right now, and just overall my least favorite team. Nothing to do with the organization, everything to do with how the players are performing. They definitely need a defensive mentality change, and I think the clear person that they should be throwing everything at the wall to go get is Dylan Brooks, who a lot of people don't see as available, but everything's available when you put enough assets towards it. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have like really solid assets. And if we make this a three-team trade where we get the Lakers involved, I think the Lakers would love to get involved in this trade. You can send out Rui Hachimura via sign and trade. They could send in a pick, to help facilitate and help the Met, like the Suns be like getting enough to get rid of Dylan Brooks. They get Jared Allen. The Lakers get Jared Allen. The Suns get Rui Hachimura and some draft capital, and the Cavs get Dylan Brooks. I think that's a team that's a team friendly trade where everyone can come out and be like, I see the value here. I definitely see the value here. And if they want to move more pieces around where the Suns could potentially add on Dennis Schroeder as well, I think that's something they would look for and be pretty happy about. And I think this is a clear trade for all three of them. I think the Suns definitely need draft capital. Like I don't really believe in their core to be championship contenders anytime soon. I don't really think they think that. And they had a pretty good coach, pretty good season this year. Dylan Brooks was a major part of that. And I think it's time to sell high on his value because I'm not sure if Dylan Brooks's offensive value will continue to be the same. And if it does, that's great for the Cavs as well because Dylan Brooks was a 20-point per game scorer this year. Honestly, an all-star level player. He brought top 10 level defense, and he was also out here shooting his lights out. He was a great 3-point shooter, great mid-range shooter, and really perfect for this team. And for the Lakers to acquire Jared Allen, that's the perfect big you want alongside Luka. He can play defense pretty well. He's a really solid rebounder, and he runs like a gazelle up the court. Easy transition scorer alongside Luka. Easy lob threat alongside Luka. Really the perfect player to put alongside Luka, which they definitely need for the future because DeAndre Ayton is definitely not cutting it. I mean, he's playing so poorly, and that's just who he is, I guess. And I think this is a clear choice for the Cavs because this defensive mentality switch that Dylan Brooks can provide would be so valuable to this team that looks like their mentality is broken every game. Like James Harden lately is walking in like he's working at 7-Eleven. Like he's just like I'm just here to do my game and then clock out. Like it's just like it seems like nothing's really caring about. And from all the reports, it seems like they're going to keep the core intact. Not the with the core of James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. I'm not sure about the rest of the pieces, and I think Jared Allen is definitely the odd man out. He's definitely able to move for trade, and Dylan Brooks is a great dude to acquire in exchange for that. The Pistons, the surprise of the season. Everyone thought the Pistons were going to be a good team again. No one thought the Pistons were going to win 60 games. I mean, this team was a regular season juggernaut. Their defense is elite. And that's definitely not something that's going to change. One thing they have to worry about this offseason is figuring out contracts, figuring out how they're going to pay who. I think they still keep Jalen Duren, but Jalen Duren is not getting the same money that he was expecting. Like, Jalen Duren was going to walk away with a max contract this offseason. No longer that. And that is a good thing, actually. Because as poor as Jalen Duren did play this season, I think it's pretty clear. I don't think Jalen Duren's going to be a bum for the rest of his career. I think this is definitely a hump that he can get over. He like his frame is so big and his skill set is so well alongside his frame. I think it'll be easy and it's to make way more contract flexibility for the Pistons. They'll have to sign a contract extension with Asar Thompson, and then I think after that you trade for Kawhi Leonard. One thing that was clear this postseason run is that Cade Cunningham does not have enough offense alongside of him. His defense is great alongside of him. Even he's a really great contributor on defense. But I think it's clear that he needs another offensive person, and I think the perfect dude to put alongside him is Kawhi Leonard. He's really available. He's a win now player, which the Pistons are now a win now team. He has a great shot. He's more available than ever, and the Clippers clearly are looking towards a more youthful direction. And I think adding Kawhi Leonard, a player where if Cade Cunningham just gets him the ball, that's an easy bucket. He is the most uncontestable shot in like NBA history. Like when Kawhi Leonard goes up for a mid-range shot, you can see him high-fiving the opposing team, and he'll just drain the mid-range shot. He's a really great three-point shooter as well, and having him run on the court like he's a player that doesn't really even need an elite point guard alongside of him to create good offense, but adding an elite point guard alongside him to create elite offense would be amazing. And he still is a really good defender. He definitely and he screams Detroit. Like looking at Kawhi Leonard, I can easily see him in a Detroit jersey. And I think it's clear that the Clippers want more young talent. They could acquire Ron Holland and assign a trade with Tobias Harris and some draft capital. And I think that's an easy just yes on both sides. The Toronto Raptors, another fun team. I think it's clear that they need to address some of their bad contracts on the team. Jakob Poeltl, Emmanuel Quickly, Brandon Ingram, awful contracts. And I think the easiest one to probably get off of is the Jakob Poeltl. You just got to attach some draft capital to it. So I think the Raptors going in and trying to acquire Miles Turner, it's clear that they need a big. Jakob Poeltl is not cutting it. You make the contract work with Jakob Poeltl, and then you add on Grady Dick and some draft capital in order to get Miles Turner. Uh, I know that seems like a big package, but Jakob Poeltl is a negative asset. His contract is so awful. He's getting paid $20 million a year, and he's going to be like a 4 rebound, 5 point player for like the rest of his career. It seems like his back problems really do seem to be bothering him, which was a shame because he was really good last year, and he did deserve that extension based on how he played, but no longer does he deserve that. And Miles Turner could really help the offense of this team, not only being a floor spacer where he can shoot the 3 point ball really well, he could also be a solid rebounder. I know he's not the best big rebounder in the world, but alongside Colin Murray Boyles and Scotty Barnes, who are also big bodies, they could all collectively be a team rebounding team. And he's a really good shot blocker too. We saw that in the NBA Finals, and it was not too long ago that Miles Turner was considered one of the best centers in the league. So I think that he could definitely replay up some of that value alongside the Raptors, and the Bucks could take a swing on Grady Dick and some draft capital, which with the new draft rules, not a bad pick because the Raptors aren't like an insane team or anything. So if they have a little bit of a down year or everyone in the league has a bit of an up year, that team could be jumping up to number one odds. Speaking of the Pacers, Halliburton will be back next season. They acquired Zubats at the deadline. They have Pascal Siakam still, and all those players are great. But I think there's one move away from being like the top dogs out east, and I think going out to acquire Trey Murphy III, which I don't really know if he's available because the Pelicans are so weird of a franchise where it's like they don't really want to sell any of their really good pieces. Like the for how bad of a team the Pelicans are, they have so many good pieces on that team. And going out to acquire a Trey Murphy III would be pretty simple for the Pacers to do contract wise. You just give up Obi Toppin and Ben Shepherd, and then the contracts match pretty well. And then the Pacers do have a lot of draft capital for the future, and I think it's clear this team's pretty young. They want to contend for the future. I think they'd be willing to give up some of the draft capital. Like they could give up the next 2 year picks for them, and that's definitely some value you could see there, especially alongside you expect Tyler Halliburton to be here the whole career, and then Trey Murphy III is really young too. And I think alongside a playmaking point guard like Tyrese Halliburton, Trey Murphy III could be an all-star level player. I mean, he's always been like in my head like an all-star level player. He's just not really been having the stage to show off that all-star level player, you know, effort and mentality and statistics because he doesn't really have a good point guard alongside of him. I mean, his point guard this year mainly was just Jeremiah Fears, who was a really solid young player, but no one that could really boost his stock. And he did have a really good year. And I think he could carry that onto the Pacers, and he could be the person who definitely takes his jumps and jumps his team into contention. And the Pelicans should be moving on from him because they should be trying to get in more value, some draft capital, and Ben Shepherd's kind of young. Obi Toppin's a really solid player that you could dish out for some more pieces. So I think it's a clear win-win trade for them. New York Knicks. I think the only move they need to make this offseason is to retain everybody they can. I think pretty sure Mitchell Robinson is up for his contract, and I think you just try to contain everybody. Mitchell Robinson, probably the best backup big in the league. You definitely want to keep him alongside. You want to keep OG, Mikhail, Jalen Brunson, Carlton Towns, anybody. Just make sure everyone's locked up. Keep them for the next season. This team is going to be contenders for years and years and years to come. This team looks phenomenal, and they're clicking so well. And this could be the change of the tides for the future, and they just be like this forever. The 76ers, surprising season for them. They didn't perform super well in the regular season, but they beat the Boston Celtics in 7. They got fried by the Knicks, but you got to take your wins with your losses. I think it's clear what they need to do is try to help transition. They're not going to become contenders this season, but they can help transition into a new era where Tyrese Maxey is the face of the team rather than Joel Embiid. Just let Joel Embiid run out his contract because he is no trade value at all. Like you would have to attach picks alongside Joel Embiid to get off of him. His injury proneness is just really, 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 really bad. And Tyrese Maxey is really, really good, and VJ Edgecombe is really, really good. So I think one thing you want to do is with the draft pick that you do have this year, you want to draft with it. You want to go get a player like Allen Graves. Allen Graves projected to go around the same selection that 76ers have is a really, really solid, like larger wing who can shoot and play some defense. I mean, that's a perfect development player for the NBA. And that's definitely someone that they could really want. And I think you should try to retain Quentin Grimes to have that little punch off the bench. That's something that they lacked a lot this year, which makes it even dumber why they traded Jared McCain. But that's definitely something that the 76ers should be interested in doing is just moving on from much younger talent, work on development, and try to just transition to a new era where Paul George and Joel Embiid were no longer a part of the team. Like I said before, I think it is clear that Giannis is not staying on the Bucks, and it's clear that he's moving on. And I think the best destination for him as of right now is the Miami Heat. Miami Heat have by far the best package. They have their own draft capital for the future, and they're getting more this offseason, and along with some other younger talent like Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, Nikola Jovic. Jaime Jaquez, I doubt they would give up Jaime. They have Khalil Ware, and this could definitely be a really interesting trade. And I think the Bucks could see the best value in the league because obviously Giannis wants out. I think it's very clear. Everyone can see it. I'd be very surprised if Giannis stays on the Bucks this next season. And Giannis in Milwaukee is just there's no room for contention anymore. They are screwed financially. They are screwed asset wise. The only young talent they really have is like Ryan Rollins in the number 10 pick this year, which is just really not a lot. So I think it's clear that they should be moving on to a new era. Go get some picks from Miami. Go send Giannis over there. Giannis alongside Bam Adebayo will be a really fun front court duo defensively. And then you have Khalil Ware and Tyler Hero coming to the Bucks. Tyler Hero was once an All-Star. You could dish him out for a different player. Khalil Ware could be an All-Star one day. He's a rebounding monster, offensively really solid. He can kind of do it all, and he's not beginning the playing time he deserves. And I think the Bucks could really just boost up his value, and he could be a breakout player next season if he does go to the Bucks. So I really do think that this is a win-win trade on each side. Obviously, the Bucks would hate to see Giannis go, but the truth is there's no path for contention with Giannis on this roster. You need to start switching the flip and everything and just working on getting, draft capital and young players for the future, which Miami has the best package to offer. And Miami clearly is just not a good team. Like their team is good enough to make the play in or a low seed every year, but they need that big superstar player like Giannis to help boost them into actual contention. Because alongside Bam Adebayo, Giannis and Bam, great duo, and then just more development from a lot of their other pieces like Davion Mitchell, Kasparis Yakachonis, and they have Jaime Jaquez, Andrew Wiggins. This team could be really solid next year. Number one overall pick going to the Washington Wizards. That's the move I need them to make this season. I think it's clear the Washington Wizards have drafted really solid bench rotation players like Bilal Coulibaly, Bob Carrington, Trey Johnson, Alex Sarr, who could potentially be an All-Star one day. I think it's clear they have really good surrounding players. Keyshawn George. And one thing they definitely need is that superstar. I know they have Anthony Davis and Trey Young on their roster, but they don't feel like future pieces. It seems like Anthony Davis wants to leave whenever he can, and Trey Young is just not as good as he used to be in this league. He's a little bit too small, and he turns the ball over a lot. He offensively hasn't been the same the last 2 years. So I think it's clear that they need to draft at this pick, and they need to get AJ DeBonsa. I don't want them trading down. I don't want them doing anything like that. AJ DeBonsa is the most clear-cut star in this league, in this draft class, and I think he'll easily be a star. He has the best upside. He can score the ball. Best scorer we've seen since Kevin Durant, prospect-wise. And he has some really good, solid playmaking feel. And I do think he would fit really, really well alongside the Wizards roster with how much like pieces they have around there. And I think that's just something I really want to see them do is just go out there and get that guy. Simple as that. Let me know what y'all thought about all these moves that I, written up. Obviously, it might be that none of these even happen. These are just things that I was thinking about in my head, and I thought that some of them made sense. So let me know what you think. Argue with me in the comments. I'm all for it. Let me know what trades you think your team should do. Let me know if you thought the trades I made for your team, you like, and if you don't, tell me about it. If you do, tell me about it, and please like and subscribe. And I hope y'all have a good one. Peace.